Hello, we're our Lives channel. Today, we're diving deeper into the explosive events set to shake Salem in the October 1st episode, where DNA bombshells, scheming villains, and high-stakes adoption drama converge for another must-watch day. Brady faces DNA shocks. Brady Black's world teeters on the edge as he anxiously awaits the DNA test results that could upend everything he knows about his family. Throughout the episode, Brady paces, flashes of doubt and hope warring across his face, as Kayla Johnson prepares to deliver the verdict. The tension is palpable. Will the results protect Tate Black's future? Or will they launch a scandal that reverberates through Salem's corridors of power? Viewers will see Kayla collaborating with Steve Johnson, meticulously double-checking paperwork to ensure the integrity of the test. Their subtle exchanges hint at past brushes with manipulation, and while Kayla resists personal involvement, Steve's concern for Brady underscores the family ties that bind and sometimes threaten to break. In a twist, the revelation that Tate might not be Tesoro's biological father hits like a thunderclap. Some in Salem may whisper Melinda Trask's name, her reputation casting shadows over the lab's integrity, but new theories swirl. Maybe Aaron Green is secretly connected to Tesoro. What began as a procedural check becomes messy, with loyalties tested and the truth buried beneath schemes. Johnny and Chanel's adoption ordeal. Meanwhile, sparks fly as Johnny DiMera and Chanel Dupree DiMera begin what should be a joyful journey at the adoption agency. Hopeful and nervous, the couple braces themselves for the scrutiny of the agency's home visit. Enter Jillian, the social worker whose briefcase contains more than routine forms. It's a Pandora's box of questions and judgment. As the meeting unfolds, Johnny's nervous jokes and Chanel's earnest answers are suddenly overshadowed by shocking complaints allegedly raised by the birth mother. Disbelief and panic sweep through them as the adoption teeters, threatened by forces they can't fully see. Chanel's instinct is to fight for Tesoro, her fierce maternal drive on display as the couple struggles to prove themselves worthy parents. This storyline adds depth, weaving in themes of trust, identity, and what it means to be a family. The couple's supporters, from Abe Carver to Paulina Price, rally behind them, but the bureaucracy looms omnipresent and unyielding. At episode's end, their dream of adoption shatters, for now, and the implications send ripples through the community. Sophia's sinister machinations. Lurking behind every disaster is Sophia, whose cunning knows no bounds. This episode dives into her motivations: revenge, ambition, jealousy, and a disturbing willingness to manipulate Holly Jonas by sending provocative photos to Salem's most influential players. Is her target a local politician, a hospital board member, or perhaps even Jake DiMera, whose troubled history with Sophia could provide a plausible motivation for her schemes? Sophia's telephone conversations are laced with double meaning. Each message she sends is designed to set off a chain reaction. Her ultimate goal isn't just to sabotage Johnny and Chanel's adoption, but to dismantle their relationship, using Holly as a pawn and spinning fabricated tales about her connection to Johnny. Viewers will also witness Sophia laying groundwork to disrupt other families, plotting deals with third parties and forging alliances with Salem's darker elements. Hidden beneath the surface, Sophia's machinations could upend not just one household, but the entire social fabric of the town. EJ's PR crisis with Stephanie. Elsewhere, EJ DiMera scrambles to manage the fallout from the shady electrical work that has cast a cloud over the hospital's renovation. The hospital board is furious, donors are pulling back, and public trust is eroding. Enter Stephanie Johnson, Salem's master fixer, whose sharp PR instincts have saved more than one DiMera from disgrace. The negotiation between EJ and Stephanie is less about quick solutions and more about extracting long-term value. Stephanie's deal guarantees free services for Horton Clinic, as well as leverage in future disputes that could benefit her family. Their strategic partnership reveals a new side of both characters. EJ's vulnerability becomes clear as he admits to orchestrating cost-cutting electrical shortcuts, while Stephanie's resolve strengthens. She's determined to salvage reputations and protect her loved ones from collateral damage. Together, they present bold solutions and promise shocking updates that will reshape Salem's medical landscape. Holly, Tate, and the Candle Catastrophe. In parallel, Holly Jonas battles her own demons. Haunted by Sophia's manipulation and the ever-present threat to her reputation, Holly stumbles into danger, accidentally knocking over a lit candle during a sleepless night in the dorm. The ensuing fire puts everyone on edge, but Tate Black's heroic response marks a dramatic turning point. Tate risks his own safety to save Holly, igniting rumors about their relationship and prompting new investigations from the school's authorities. Holly's subsequent decision to distance herself from Tate, out of fear and confusion, adds emotional complexity. While Tate nurses his frustration and heartbreak, Holly's actions are interpreted across Salem, with old enemies and newfound allies weighing in. This storyline amplifies questions of mental health, resilience, and the pressures facing Salem's youth. The entire community turns their attention to campus safety, with parents and local leaders demanding answers. Social worker Jillian's nightmare visit. Social worker Jillian's visit becomes emblematic of the episode's overarching tension. Her professional detachment quickly crumbles under the weight of Sophia's dirty tricks. The nightmare of false accusations, manipulated evidence, and emotional confusion leaves Johnny and Chanel devastated. The adoption window slams shut, but Jillian's performance hints at her own doubts and suspicions about the mysterious forces at play. Her final report adds new layers to the adoption process, possibly prompting future investigations that will entangle more Salem residents. Sophia's next move. As chaos unfolds, Sophia plots her next moves. In Wednesday's episode, she is expected to double down on her campaign to isolate Holly, undermine Chanel, and fabricate a flirtatious connection between Johnny and Holly. Her ability to mastermind events from behind the scenes is chilling, foreshadowing a storm of confrontation, exposure, and betrayal that could dominate weeks ahead. Anticipated fallout and new twists. Looking forward to the aftermath, Salem's interconnected storylines are set to intensify. Kayla and Steve may push for a secondary DNA test to confirm results, perhaps uncovering a deeper conspiracy. Stephanie's alliance with EJ could be threatened by rival clinics or angry board members. Johnny and Chanel's heartbreak might be only temporary, with new adoption avenues or miraculous reunions awaiting. The unnamed birth mother could yet change her mind. Finally, as Sophia's reign of chaos persists, new alliances and rivalries form. Salem's residents, old and new, will be forced to reckon with their secrets, their loyalties, and the lengths they'll go to protect what matters most. As the episode ends, viewers are left with burning questions. Will Sophia be exposed? Will Brady accept the DNA shock? Will Johnny and Chanel's family ever grow? Stay tuned for more wild twists and turns, because on Days of Our Lives, behind every closed door, another secret is always waiting to be revealed. Days of Our Lives recap, Tuesday, September 30th, 2025. Old wounds reopened, new bonds tested. The lights are finally back on in Salem, but as so often happens in this little town, the darkness didn't just come from the power outage. Even as the electricity hums back through the city, old resentments, painful memories, and complicated relationships spark up once again. And this time, the person at the very center of the storm is J.J. Devereaux. A city in chaos. The blackout shook Salem to its core. With the streets dark, fear spread quickly, and looters wasted no time taking advantage. By the time order was restored, the town square looked like a battle zone. Salem residents, always on edge after years of crises, reacted in their usual way, with a mix of shock, suspicion, and fiery determination. At the police station, JJ tried to reassure Jada that things were finally under control. He radioed in, his voice steady but clearly weary, reporting that the looting had been calmed. But in Salem, peace rarely lasts for long. Paulina and Theo walked into Jada's office, frustration written all over their faces. For Paulina, the blackout was just one more disaster in a long line of challenges, and she was ready to do something about it. She declared that this entire mess could be traced back to EJ DiMera and his dealings with the hospital. In Paulina's eyes, EJ was responsible, and she wasn't about to let him walk away unscathed. Jada, always sharp and determined, was right there with her. If EJ thinks he's going to cause chaos in this city without consequences, he's dead wrong, she practically snapped. Paulina, never one to hold back, gleefully informed the sheriff that EJ was already suffering. Trapped in an elevator, left to stew in his own arrogance while the rest of Salem clawed its way out of the blackout. Theo and JJ faced the past. But the real drama of the day came not from the looters, the curfews, or even EJ's entrapment. It came from a quiet but devastating confrontation in the town square. Theo had stepped outside, simply trying to return Paulina's forgotten phone. But fate, and perhaps unfinished business, had other plans. Standing right there in the plaza was JJ Devereaux. The moment their eyes locked, time seemed to freeze. Theo stiffened instantly, every muscle tense, his breath catching in his chest. JJ, just as startled, stepped forward. "Theo, wait!" he called out. But Theo wouldn't move. He couldn't. Memories of the night JJ had shot him came crashing back, fresh as if it had happened only yesterday. JJ, trying to bridge the gap, asked him to turn around, his voice low, almost pleading. But when Theo finally faced him, it was like ripping open a wound that had never healed. "You're doing it again," Theo snapped, his voice shaking with anger. "You're looking at me the same way you did before. If you had a gun in your hand right now, I'd be dead. That's all I was to you that night. A black man in the wrong place at the wrong time." The words hung in the air, heavy, almost unbearable. JJ stammered out a denial, insisting that wasn't true, that it hadn't been like that. But Theo wouldn't stop. He couldn't. For him, the pain of that night never went away. And now, here was JJ, not just back in Salem, but back in uniform, back with the badge that had changed Theo's life forever. A bitter history resurfaces. As JJ tried to explain, to tell Theo he just wanted to talk, the divide between them only grew clearer. Theo revealed that he hadn't spoken to JJ in nearly a year. Ever since JJ had returned to the police force, Theo had carried a quiet, simmering fury. To him, JJ's resignation years ago had meant something. It had been a rare acknowledgement that the shooting had broken him as much as it had broken Theo. But now, JJ's return felt like a betrayal. "You quit once because you admitted you weren't cut out to be a cop," Theo said bitterly. "Nothing has changed since then. You're still the same man who pulled the trigger." JJ, visibly shaken, didn't have an easy answer. The weight of his choices, the years of guilt, and the pain of seeing Theo's raw hurt right in front of him left him struggling to respond. Salem's endless blackouts may have ended, but the darkness between these two men was far from lifted. Meanwhile, in Salem, while JJ and Theo relived their shared nightmare, other residents of Salem found themselves at crossroads of their own. Chad and Kat shared a moment of hope, deciding to take a step forward in their complicated relationship. For Chad, who has struggled for years with grief and mistrust, this wasn't just romance. It was a chance to believe in happiness again. Xander and Sarah, never far from drama, once again tried to make things right between them. Their story has been a seesaw of passion, betrayal, and reconciliation. But the blackout gave them a moment of clarity. Whether they can finally hold onto it remains to be seen. The power is back, but the pain remains. When the lights went out in Salem, the chaos outside mirrored the turmoil inside so many hearts. The city may now be glowing again with electricity, but for people like Theo and JJ, the shadows of the past are not so easily erased. One thing is certain: Salem's storms aren't over. They've only just begun.